Hey, what's up guys? John here. We're stepping into global famine according to world leaders. What does this mean? What does global famine mean? It doesn't mean, you go to your traditional grocery store and they don't have half the food that you're looking for, so you get something else and you still eat. No, famine means starvation. This is what Biden and a lot of the world leaders are talking about. This is unreal. This is absolutely unbelievable. But they're blaming this on what's happening overseas. And as of right now, there's a planned meeting for the White House in September for the first food insecurity conference in over 50 years. 50 years. And the last one that they did was with Nixon. And this was in 1969. And that landmark event led to the expansions of food stamp programs and the first lunch program, creation of special supplement nutrition programs for women, infants, and children, and improved nutrition labeling. They go on to say that the world is about to go hungry because of the war. The world is about to go hungry because of the war. Share this video with a friend that, maybe doesn't believe what's going on right now. Because I'm going to lay out the facts of everything that's happening. And if you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share this content to educate more people. The more people that are awake and aware, the better for everybody. Right now, they're saying too many families don't know where their next meal is. Biden said in the video announcing the conference, too many empty chairs around the kitchen table because a loved one was taken by heart disease, diabetes, or other diet-oriented diseases, which are some of the leading causes of death in this country. Now you look at how they tie that together with this. The pandemic, the president said, stark reminder of the need for urgent, sustained action, and more Americans experience hunger. We saw diet-related diseases heighten the risk of severe, right? So they're laying everything together. It's all kind of coming together. Right now, German food minister says Western countries need to send more weapons into Ukraine to avert a global famine. This was April 17th. Then, just a couple days ago, Russian troops are stealing farm equipment and targeting grain warehouses to cause a global famine. Change right here could cause the next great famine. This is Time magazine, and this was 2014, March 17th, 2014. So what does this mean? It means that we're seeing a lot of, what was said many, many years ago starting to come to fruition. So people think maybe, oh, everything's gonna work itself out. It's not a big deal. This has been in talks for a very, very, very long time about what could very likely come. This is 8 years ago. But they've been talking about stuff like this for 20 years, and it's slowly been progressing, or even longer than that. Food supply is at risk due to global fertilizer shortage, and this is what Biden is doing, which is very fascinating, not in a good way. Why does Biden want to increase farm subsidies? How would that affect farmers? Because as fertilizer prices go up, it gets harder to produce food at a profit. And if they can't produce it at a profit, there's only so long that they can produce it at a loss. So what are they going to be doing? They're going to likely be forced into taking out loans. They're going to be forced into taking out subsidies or grants or any other type of assistance so that they can continue working the land. President Joe Biden's latest plan to help Ukraine has implications for American farmers to the tune of $500 million in increased farm subsidies. The president's goal is to encourage U.S. farmers to increase wheat, corn, and soybean production to make up for what Ukraine used to export. Prior to Russia's invasion, Ukraine produced 10% of the world's wheat. But do farmers need that kind of encouragement when commodity prices are already at sky-high levels? Under the Biden administration proposal, $100 million would go towards providing a $10 per acre payment to farmers who plant a soybean crop after a winter wheat crop in 2023. Another $400 million would fund a 2-year increase in loan rates for U.S. producers to encourage them to grow more select food commodities, including wheat, rice, and oilseeds like soybeans, sunflowers, and canola. The Agriculture Department claims the proposal would help stabilize rising U.S. food prices and provide food for foreign countries in need by helping American farmers grow 50% of the wheat normally exported by Ukraine, among other things. So we're going to be growing food for other countries when our country as a whole is already going to be in big trouble. That plan, however, would probably also require U.S. to step up funding for federal aid programs that buy and ship U.S. commodities abroad. Otherwise, wealthier countries like China would likely buy up the extra supply on the open market. Now here's what the White House fact sheet said, that these new subsidies would make it easier for farmers to get crop insurance and loans. So these farmers are going to be pushed into these loans and into crop insurance. For example, to help offset high fertilizer prices that make planting more acres riskier right now. Farming economists generally are bullish about subsidies, but this time have been muted because the incentive proposal is so complicated and there's a good deal of uncertainty about whether farmers need a greater incentive to plant finesse ground. This is interesting how this is all kind of like pivoting to a head, because it just continues to go down this direction. Right now, fertilizer shortages could cause food shortages in Michigan, and in Tennessee, fertilizer shortage affecting Tennessee Valley farmers. With global fertilizer shortages, farmers across the world are having to shift tactics to make sure that they have a good crop to harvest and sell. However, the impacts of the food shortages will go far beyond what is happening now. And Goya CEO warns the world is on the brink of a food crisis. The world has weaponized food. This is what he's saying. The world has weaponized food. We are on the precipice of a global food crisis, the CEO told the host. Inflation has accelerated to a new 4-decade high in March, with supply chain constraints, the Russian war in Ukraine, and strong consumer demand fueling rapid price gains that wiped out the benefit of rising wages for most Americans. The Labor Department said earlier this month that the Consumer Price Index, which measures the bevy of goods, including gasoline, healthcare, groceries, rent rose 8.5% in March. From a year ago, it's actually 18.5%. They're saying that the basket of goods rose 8.5%, which I find very hard to believe, and I'm sure you do as well. The real inflation, many would argue, is a multiple of that. The fastest pace since December of 1981, when inflation at 8.9%, prices jumped 1.2%. In a one-month period from February, the largest month-to-month jump since 2005, 17 years. Price increases were widespread. Energy prices rose a stunning 11% in March from the previous month and are up 32%. 32%. Gasoline on average costs 48% more than it did last year after rising 18.3% in March on a monthly basis, and the Russian war in Ukraine fueled a rapid increase in oil prices. Food prices have also climbed 8.8% higher over a year and 1% over the month, with the largest increase in cereal and bakery goods 10%, poultry, fish, meat 13.8%, fresh fruits and vegetables 8.1%, and eggs 11.2%. So what does all this mean? It means that they're going to come out with something. They're going to come out with a new way, a better way, in which they can produce food at a more, sustainable level, a way in which they can control prices. But I think that that's likely going to happen down the road. And I think from there to where we are now is going to be hell in between. That's what I ultimately think is going to happen. Because we look at what Time Magazine said, they're saying that this is going to really cause the next famine, right? This is what's going to cause the next famine. You look at what their solution is. So they said this change can disrupt food availability, reduce food access, affect food quality. For example, projected increases in temperatures, change in precipitation patterns, changes in extreme weather events, and reductions in water availability may all result in reduced agricultural productivity. Look at what's happening right now in California. They're talking about water issues. This is what I think is going to happen, is that they are likely going to start bringing in new solutions for food production. And what this could likely be would be to build out food, more like not really plant-based, but more artificial foods that they say are plant-based, that are inside of warehouses that are stacked on top of each other, one on another. And they basically just manufacture this food, and that's it. Like we start to really lose our ability to have options such as meat and all the things that we were accustomed to over the years. But I do think, when they're talking famine, when they're bringing out a meeting for the White House, and they haven't had one in 50 years to talk about food, this means massive, massive changes are going to be coming. And you look at all of the fertilizer problems that are happening in Ukraine and Russia right now. You look at everything that's happening in the food belt. We are stepping in to hell, food hell. This isn't anything other than the raw facts that we are stepping into a really, really big problem in this country and in this world over the next year or so. That is inevitable. That's why I do believe that the best thing that we can all be doing is really, planning for this. So if you, let's say, have $5,000 or $10,000 in the bank, and for a fact that you're going to need toothbrushes and, certain frozen foods or dried foods. You're going to need certain things. You're going to need them over the next few months or next year or whatever. Buy what you can now because you likely may not be able to get it. And obviously, things, if you can get them, is going to be more expensive. They're not going to be the same price that you could get today. So you look at this like a stock investment or crypto investment if you're investing in those right now. If you look at those investments and you hope to get a 10% or 15 or 20% return on one of these investments, I think that if you buy the things that you're going to definitely need in 6 months or a year, you're going to get a far better return having just bought and held these products than you would betting on a speculative cryptocurrency or speculative stock or whatever speculative investment that you are thinking of. Because everything is going to continue going up, 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 up. Everything is going up. It's really kind of shocking to see how fast this is all progressing. We're stepping into a hyperinflation environment. We're stepping into an environment where we are going to see rising utility prices. We're going to see rising shipping costs, and we're going to see a scarcity in available truckers and all of the fertilizer problems. We're stepping into really a crazy, crazy situation. What do you think about all this? Do you think that we're going to see massive food shortages, or per the world leaders, what they're saying is they're using the word famine? Do you think we're going to step into famine in 2022? Drop your comments below, hit the like button, subscribe here. Also on my second channel, I'm going to leave links down below. It's going to be a podcast. It's going to be very interactive as well. I'm going to be taking on guests, talking about real estate deals, talking about what's going on in the economy, as well as TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram. Everything's in the banner. I'll catch you guys later. But let's really talk about this. I really think that this is a major, major problem. I think it's definitely happening, and I don't think there's any way around it, because I think ultimately what they really want to do is they want to be able to produce food inside of facilities. That's what I ultimately think is going to be their way. And their only way that we can go from where we are now to where they want to go is going to be through a really, really big shift. But drop your comments below. Let's talk about it. Catch you guys later.